Hi, in this video I will explain how gustation, in other words sense of taste, allows you to detect and differentiate among various flavors coming from food and fluid ingestion. If you look at your tongue, you will see that it is covered with tiny little bumps called papillae, which differ in appearance and function. Filiform papillae are responsible for sensing texture and touch of what you put into your mouth, whereas circumvallate papillae, fungiform papillae, and foliate papillae are responsible for sensing taste as they contain taste buds. Taste buds in turn contain gustatory receptor cells. These cells are sensitive to the chemicals in the food and fluid and stimulate release of neurotransmitter, which triggers action potential in the sensory neurons. This action potential is related to the central nervous system, where it is integrated to become a conscious perception or awareness of the stimulus. For example, salty taste is simply perception or awareness of sodium ions in the saliva. So when you're eating salty fries, concentration of the sodium in your mouth is very high, and the sodium diffuses into the gustatory cells, resulting in the depolarization of cell membrane of the gustatory cells generation of the action potential, which causes release of neurotransmitters into the dendrites of sensory neurons. This triggers action potential in the sensory neurons, which travels along the neuron all the way to the central nervous system, where the stimulus is processed by the brain to tell you that you are tasting something salty and whether or not you have encountered this taste before. If you did not because you are trying some new food, then the brain will create a memory of this taste. Sour taste, on the other hand, is the perception of hydrogen ion concentration. So if you're eating lemon, hydrogen ion concentration is very high in your saliva. This hydrogen diffuses into the gustatory cells and triggers depolarization of cell membrane of the gustatory cells and generation of action potential, which causes release of the neurotransmitter. This neurotransmitter binds onto the dendrites of sensory neurons, initiating action potential, which then travels along the sensory neurons all the way to the central nervous system for the interpretation of this particular taste. Now, sweet taste is the sensitivity of gustatory cells to the presence of glucose. However, unlike ions, glucose does not diffuse into the gustatory cells. Instead, it binds onto receptor present on the plasma membrane of the gustatory cells, initiating signal transduction system, which then leads to depolarization of gustatory cells and action potential. This action potential causes release of neurotransmitters, which bind onto the dendrites of sensory neurons, initiating action potential that travels along the sensory neurons all the way to the central nervous system for the stimulus to be interpreted by the brain. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe into my channel if you find my videos interesting and educational.